everyone, welcome to Homeschool Autism Life. My name is Jamie. Today's video I wanted to chat about marriage and autism. And I wanted to specifically speak to how me and my husband have managed our marriage in the course of our autism journey, what being caregivers does or doesn't do for our marriage, and just life in general when it comes to protecting what is sacred within our marriage, and making sure that we do not become a part of the statistic that is, marriage and autism and being a caregiver and the stresses it puts on a marriage. Now, if you have had a marriage and it failed, and I am so sorry that that happened to you, and I am in no way, shape, or form minimizing the stresses and the frustrations and the difficulties that are there. In no way, shape, or form am I saying you sucked, your spouse sucked. Yeah, there's a reason why that statistic exists and why it's a difficult thing. If you are in a marriage with an autistic child and you guys are struggling, I hope that this is an encouragement. There is zero judgment, zero, nada, nothing when it comes to this. Life is hard. This life is hard. Marriage all by itself, with just regular, typically developing children, can be a quagmire if you guys are not working together, if you have differing opinions about how to raise your typically developing kids, if you are, trying to take care of a special needs kids and you've become caregivers, and your marriage, you haven't been on a date for forever, you have never gone on a weekend together, you do not have family surrounding you that they come over all the time and they're able to help you. Yeah, there's lots. So I will just say, for like reference sake, our family situation is we live between 12 hours and, sorry, there's a car passing. Oh, I have a package. Yay, my birthday present finally arrived. My birthday was in January, but it's here. Yay! Yeah, and then my dog goes completely crazy when the delivery guys show up. So I was like, you guys don't need to hear that. So I don't know where I last left off. That was like 3 minutes ago. But I was telling you about our situation. So our family lives between 4-5 hours away and 12 hours. So they're involved, but very lightly. They're not here for the day-to-day as much as I'm sure some of them would love to be. They're not here to like hang out with the kids and like send us away on, trips. We tried it when the kids were very young, with my father-in-law and his wife, and it did not go well. They were sick and they didn't bring out like the beds, and so yeah, it was a whole thing. And we just were like, okay, well, that wasn't helpful, that wasn't worth it. And so we never really tried again. Well, I shouldn't say we never tried again. We did try with my parents, but then my dad, well, it was COVID, and then they were stuck down there and no one was allowed to go anywhere. And then they're in Washington State, so they're 12 hours away. And then my dad got sick and had to deal with a cancer diagnosis and all of his treatments and stuff. He's doing very well now, but it's been like, he had it, then he was better, then he had it again, and he had to go through so much. And there's no like, okay, well, why aren't you coming down to allow us to go places? So we had a reservation to go somewhere, and we kept putting it off, and then we're like, yeah, this is never going to happen, and we got our money back. So it's been 15 well, no, not quite 15 years, because he was 5. So, but close enough, like over 10. And the few dates that we have gone on were when the kids were younger. We would have a quote unquote date to do the school teacher parent interview fun. And sometimes we'd go for hot chocolate or something after. And then we've had a few instances just dotted here and there where we've had a sitter come and sit with or hang out with the kids. But that's been more as more okay blah, 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 what am I trying to say? It's been more since the kids have been older and their needs, like they can feed themselves. Technically the girls could stay home alone, but we have never, until very recently, we went to a lawyer's appointment and the girls stayed home with Darian. It was about an hour, but they had a phone and they could phone us if something was going horribly wrong. Nothing did. But when we have to be gone for several hours, we always get somebody to sit with the kids, because we don't want them responsible for if something horrible went wrong, that they have to carry that for the rest of their lives, that they somehow failed. And that's just a what if, but it's something we're very aware of. So when it comes to marriage and autism and special needs and stuff, Colin and I have looked at it very much like we are a team. When I am falling apart, he is not. And when he's falling apart, I am not. When we hit a challenge or a snag, I think the biggest stressor that I could say on our marriage has been sleep. For a while, Colin was taking like turns. We were taking turns, and as Darian's sleep habits became harder to deal with, my husband, because he is a single breadwinner, it was getting too hard, and I was like, no, this makes sense that I do the night shift and you do the weekends. But even sometimes I do because like my brain has gotten used to the 3 o'clock in the morning bedtime. His is definitely not. And so it's about challenge, like taking the things that are hard and going, okay, do you have an idea how we can deal with it? Do I have an idea? How do we slowly claw this back if we can? But even I've talked about in several past videos about having an 18-year-old roommate. He's not quite 18. He's almost 17 in like 3 weeks. 4 weeks, he's going to be 18. But it's been a challenge to, carve out time for us as a couple. And the big thing that I've always said with him, and when we've had those discussions, is that, if we're still always wanting to do that, but we get, I'm going to say something rude because it's the best way that I could say it, but cock blocked. um, but it's like that, not just about intimacy, but also about like spending time together, having, dates and discussing things. And I find myself going, okay, I need to talk to him about something, and so I'll follow him to the bathroom while he's having a shower and we're just talking about stuff. I think the big thing that I would say that's probably the strongest about our marriage, that I'm not sure everyone has, is to understand that there are going to be moments where you are frustrated about the situation you are in. You're frustrated because it's not fair. You're frustrated because you wish it was easier and it's not. It's frustrating because um, maybe your spouse is doing something that you go, I don't know if that's going to fix things. What are you doing? But always, always, always to remember that like your spouse is a human going through some of the same struggles, but maybe different struggles than you are, and going, that's not their fault. Autism is not our kids' fault. It's not our spouse's fault either. And um, to be able to give them, extend them grace to say, okay, you're doing the best that you can. I'm doing the best that I can. Does it fix it? No, but that's okay. And to go, okay, I need to like be very, very aware. There's a funky bird making a noise. But I look at it and go, we are a team, and I literally can't imagine doing it by myself. Um, there's been a lot of discussions about how with a divorce, that means that on the days that your child is with their other parent, you get a complete and total break. And I get that and I see that, but at the same time, I think about the hard moments that I've had, and I go, I can't imagine not having Colin there to give me a hug and say, you know what, it's okay, you did the best that you could, or this is just hard and it sucks. um I can't even imagine that. I don't want to imagine it. I don't want to. And if you are doing this journey by yourself, there's huge prayers for you. I hope that you are thriving and not, merely surviving. Even in a marriage, there will be times where you are just merely surviving. But again, it's really important that you as a couple are not attacking each other. You are looking at it and going, we are a team. The other part that I would say is really important is make sure that you are communicating with each other, the frustrations, the difficult moments. Like, there's never a point when I have a difficult moment and Colin doesn't hear about it, even if he doesn't hear about it for 2 days, because I can't talk about it because it chokes me up or makes me upset. Um, yeah, he will hear about it and he will, understand why I'm struggling or having a difficult moment. Um, the other part that I wanted to stress is, um, the one thing that Colin and I have always done from the very beginning of our marriage has been to say, I love you, every single day. And it's not a ritualistic thing. It was just a habit that we got into. When we were first married, I would always thank him for marrying me, and he's like, thanks for letting me. um, you as a couple, there's a lot of talk, and I think I talked about this in the ideal, what's the idealistic thing, and can you still have a good life even if the idealistic thing isn't available? But one of the things that I found so funny, and Cullen and I always laugh at, is the threes, the list of three. So every um 3 weeks you should, I forget exactly how it goes, but is essentially you should be going on a date once a week. Every 3 months you should go away for a weekend together. Every 3 years you should go for a complete and total like week away from your family and your kids, and it's just the two of you. And like I said earlier, that's not possible. It's just not. Even if you do have that disposable income to throw around. which we did not. It's a hilarious thing to say that that's the only way to keep your marriage together. I think your marriage needs a lot less. It needs intentionality of giving each other grace when things are going poorly or when you're having difficult moments, and going, you know what, that wasn't maybe the best way to handle that situation, but let's brainstorm things that can be helpful in the moment. And the other thing is that you are a team, so work together like a team. um, Understand that you guys both love your kid as much as possible, as much as you are able to, and you're doing the best job that you can. And at the end of the day, making sure that you prioritize each other with the I love yous and the this sucks right now, but we will get through it. Mindset is everything. I feel like I preach this all the time, but mindset is everything. If you are looking at your spouse going, that's what he did wrong, that's what he did wrong, that's what she did wrong, that's why she sucks at this and I'm so much better at this, your marriage is going to fail. It is going to. If you look at the mistakes that are made and go, he is doing the best job that he can, and we can discuss this, and we can, maybe it doesn't even need a conversation, because I think there are times where even my husband goes, yeah, that wasn't the best way I could have handled that. And me pointing it out and going, right there is not going to fix anything. It's going to make things worse. This little talk obviously doesn't speak to, let's say you have a spouse who starts drinking, or doing drugs to cope, then you're in a different ball of wax. And I cannot speak to that because I don't have that issue. But I can definitely pray for you if you are struggling in that way. I can pray for you even if you aren't struggling that way. You're just struggling with, how to metabolize autism as part of your marriage, because it is absolutely a part of mine. Um, yeah, yeah. Yeah. So I don't know. I'm hoping that this is an encouragement, that you will be able to take things that would be able to help strengthen your marriage, because I truly believe that working together is something that makes this job, this caregiving role, um, this life that we walk a little bit easier. And again, there's no judgment if you have had a spouse that it didn't work with. I'm not here judging. I'm just trying to give a little bit of encouragement to say that, yeah, we don't have the ideal. We don't have family all around us. We have friends, but, again, to be like, okay, and now we're going to dump this in your lap so we can go off and play, is not really, nobody's volunteered that. I'll put it to you that way. And I think that it is still possible to have a good marriage despite that. And you can thrive in that despite the hardship that comes with an autism diagnosis within your family. And so thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. If you have any questions or things that you have done in your marriage that has really helped solidify, feel free to put that down in the comments. And thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. We'll see you next week.